Yeah, do you mind just introducing yourself, telling me where you're from and how long you've been here, how long you've been a monk?
Okay, so I'm Lindsay Carl. I've been here at Pape for over 5 years now. I'm from Australia. I'll be 34 in August. It's currently May, so...
5 years.
Yes.
Huh. Can you tell us what you did before becoming a monk and maybe why... I know it's a longer question, why you became a monk, but we'll answer that. But then, yeah, what were you doing before? Hey.
So, before I was a monk, rather, I had a career, kind of, in the solar energy industry, in solar for a little while, and that fell apart. It just really wasn't giving me the satisfaction that I was looking for, and I pivoted into Uber driving. So I was an Uber driver for about a year, in between doing solar and being a monk, so... That was the best job I ever had. A lot of freedom as well to just work whenever you want to. You don't have to answer to anybody else, and yeah, it was the best.
Okay. I get a lot of mixed reactions for Uber. I'm gonna just dive into, I don't know. But yeah, well, can you also talk about why you wanted to be a monk and what got you started here and how did you find this place?
So, ever since I was a child, the only thing that I've actually genuinely been interested in or enthusiastic about is coming to a deeper understanding of the nature of this reality. So I started having these deep existential crises as a young child, especially when my aunt died when I was 3 years old, the first death that I'd experienced. And I couldn't process it, I couldn't get over it, I just didn't understand, and nobody seemed to really be able to explain it to me. Nobody could help me to understand where she had gone. Nobody seemed to know, and somehow everyone was able to just get back on with their lives. And I couldn't, I was paralyzed by this uncertainty. And at that point in time, I became quite obsessed with the deep questions of life, but primarily, what happens when we die? But then also the other question, why are we even here in the first place? What are we doing? What's the point? What's actually happening? What's going on? None of this makes any sense to me. So living life in the way that we're expected to live our lives in society and be happy about it never made sense to me. It just fundamentally lacked substance. So ever since I was a child, I had been looking for purpose. I'd been looking for my sense of belonging. I was looking for understanding and not really finding it in any of my endeavors that I'd engaged in throughout my life. So I was investigating reality as thoroughly as I possibly could, just looking for some semblance of purpose and not finding it. So it eventually got to the point where... So I first connected with Buddhism and the monkhood when I was 16 years old. I was very depressed, very unwell, and I was just looking for some alternative to what we're expected to do when we're participating in society. Because for me, that just doesn't fit. I'm not going to spend my life trying to fit myself in that system. It just... it's not the right place. So I did try, though, I have to say. I moved through life up until I was 28, participating in society. I gave it my best shot, I really did. And I had a relative success working in the solar energy industry. It was quite successful, relatively. I wasn't like, movie star successful or anything like that, but I experienced success and it didn't bring me that sense of satisfaction that I was looking for. So I came to the point in my life where I'd kind of given up. And I was running out of reasons to stay alive. So my career that I was so excited and passionate and enthusiastic about, solar energy, I love solar energy so much, and helping people, I love helping people so much, it just fell apart. It lost the resonance. The pieces just no longer fit. It got to a point where I realized that what I was looking for, I was not going to find it in this societal endeavor. So at that point, I really started questioning my will to live. And
jeez, yeah. What a moment.
And in these moments, I had these remembered that connection that I'd made when I was about 16 years old.
Grew up religious at all before that?
No,
not at all. Atheist. Your whole family's atheist.
Yes.
And okay, so what was the moment at 16 where you found Buddhism? What was the?
Well, I was desperate. I was looking for any alternative. I looked at what's happening in society, and I thought I have to do that until I'm 70 years old. No, absolutely not. There has to be an alternative. So I was desperate in my search for an alternative, and I stumbled across self-sustainable communities. I think that's a fantastic alternative, a fantastic idea, but it's very expensive, so it's not immediately available for most people. And in my investigations at that point in time, that's when I stumbled across Buddhism and the monkhood, which provides the perfect alternative. The objective of a monk is to realize nirvana, to realize the ultimate truth, to become enlightened. Okay, all right, I get it, it makes sense. The monks have the time and space freedom to spend their lives in the forest, practicing meditation, investigating the nature of reality. And I mean, I looked at that and I thought, I could do that. That makes a lot of sense. You know, I mean, it's something for kids, and I'm not going to say, oh, but I'm not religious. Oh no.
No, though, like, you know, like the death of your aunt, kind of the trigger. That's when all the questions that happened when you were 3. Have you had any, like, found any meaning, or what do you think happens after death now? Has it changed?
Well, yeah, for me, it's I'm not asking questions anymore. What I was really looking for ultimately was just a sense of belonging, and in that lack of feeling that sense of purpose, there was all of the, you know, the existential frustration and just being out of place, I suppose, just not being in the right place. I find when you position yourself very well, when you are in the right place, you don't need to have all of the answers to all of the questions, because life becomes quite enjoyable. So a very wise monk once said to me, the best piece of advice that I ever received, he said, find your happiness day by day and you will arrive at your destination. And it was as simple as that for me. That blew my mind. So what I've been doing recently is, during my time as a monk, is just cultivating my happiness day by day. So I don't know the ultimate truth. I am not fully enlightened, but I'm pretty good. I'm happy. I'm feeling pretty content. There's no depression, anxiety, fear, suffering, mental illness, all of these things. I recognize that I can't solve all of the problems. I'm not a warrior, I'm not a politician, I'm not a bureaucrat, I'm a monk. This is my alignment. So I think that the key is, it can lead us to the point where we feel quite paralyzed and helpless, when we see all of the horrible things going on in the world, and we feel like, oh, I can't do anything at all, so I'm just not going to do anything. There's too much, where do we even start? So it's quite overwhelming. I don't allow myself to feel guilty about the fact that I can't stop rape, murder, bombing, torture, all these kind of things. I can't do all of those things, but what I can do is teach meditation. That's where I excel. So I feel like the great solution that we can each find within ourselves is to know our strengths, know who we are, so that we can position ourselves accordingly to be as of great a service as we can possibly be. The right person in the right place at the right time can make the right difference. And for me, that's what I'm really focused on. I'm not interested in being the jack of all trades. I'm interested in being the master of one or two. And I feel as though the greatest gift that can be given is the gift of meditation. When we practice meditation, we can start to see the ways in which we are in fact wrong in our view, intention, speech, action, effort, livelihood, mindfulness, and concentration, the consequences of which are suffering. So change starts from within. You can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves, and many people are in the rhythm, essentially in this rhythm of ignorance, I suppose. And the remedy is meditation. When we practice meditation, we can cultivate right view, which destroys ignorance. When we realize that what we do to someone else is what we actually do to ourselves, if everybody in the universe, if every being in the universe recognized that fundamentally, and this is one of the fundamental Buddhist principles, this right view, if everybody was able to instantaneously cultivate right view in their mind, just spontaneously, just like that, then all of the problems would be resolved in the world. But the problem is that there is a great degree of ignorance, and we think that we can get away with violence and atrocities and doing negative things to other people, and that it's not going to happen to us. So this is karma, essentially. The lesson that we need to learn is that what we're doing to someone else is what we're actually doing to ourselves, and we come back lifetime after lifetime after lifetime until we learn the consequences of our own actions. So very important. It all comes back down to meditation. So I feel as though this is the greatest gift. I really agree with a lot of what Ram Dass says, and he takes a lot from fundamental Buddhist cosmology in what he's teaching about. So he says, can't you see, it's all perfect. And this can be quite triggering for a lot of people. There seems to be so many atrocities and injustices, and according to Buddhism, Ram Dass echoes this as well. It's just karma. This reality is fundamentally karmic in its nature. So the idea is that there is no effect without a cause. There cannot be an effect without a cause. And just because of the fact that we cannot see the cause, it doesn't mean that there is none. But in our narrow-mindedness as human beings, and if you think about the vastness of the universe, and in Buddhism we believe in reincarnation, so it means that this is not your only life, this is not your first life, you have lived many lives before, you just can't be aware of them. There's a veil of ignorance or unconsciousness or delusion, separate from the complete understanding of the totality of the universe. So there's a lot of ignorance there, and we have this, we're very arrogant as a species.
Sure, yeah.
We have to recognize that we don't know what we don't know. And what we don't know that we don't know, so here's what we know, and that makes up 0.0000001%. And then here's what we don't know that we don't know, and that makes up 99.9999999%. So we cannot sit here and say that it shouldn't be happening that way? Who are we to say that it shouldn't be happening that way? Maybe it should be. Maybe it's perfect. Maybe it's happening exactly as it needs to. Maybe the innocent person being bombed in Gaza, in their previous lifetime, they were the one doing the bombing. And the only way that they can recognize the consequences of their action. That's why.
It's going to be very triggering for a lot of people here. Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's karma. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not interested in doing anything to serve. I mean, I want to help. I want to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be, to serve others in the most meaningful way that I possibly can. So I'm not sitting here up on a mountaintop, just twiddling my thumbs and practicing meditation. For me, I want to be involved. I would feel guilty if I wasn't doing something to help. So there's 50-50 kind of an equation, I suppose you could say. So we recognize fundamentally it's karma, but that doesn't mean we can sit and be complacent and just, okay, it's just karma, so I'm going to let that person suffer. When I have something that I can do and not do it, that's reprehensible, I would say.
Yes, yeah.
That's absolutely blameworthy. So I mean, we're all suffering, all of us. It's overwhelming, and we're all selfish. Every human being is selfish. Everybody cares more about themselves than they do about anybody else. And that's okay. That's totally breathable. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Being selfish isn't a bad thing. So people are coming here looking to take care of themselves first, to cultivate a strong foundation for themselves first. And I think that's absolutely necessary, because you can't fill from an empty cup. If your cup is empty, then you don't really do much to give to anybody else. So this place is a great place for people to come to rehabilitate themselves, find their feet, and to practice meditation. And in the process of practicing meditation, what's happening is that you're starting to cultivate stillness in the mind. So the best action always comes from the stillness of the mind. I find that every bit of value that comes from me, it's not coming from me, it's coming from stillness. So purity flows from emptiness, purity flows from stillness. We can start to feel that sense of interconnectedness in the stillness of the mind. That sense of, there is no you, there is no me, there is only God. We're all connected to this thing. And if one of my brothers or sisters is going through suffering, I'm actually suffering as well. And we start to feel that sense of interconnectedness, that sense of empathy, that sense of compassion. And for me, it's always been a really governing kind of aspect of my life, that wanting to help other people. Some people aren't necessarily inclined in that way, and that's totally fine. I mean, each to their own. And I can't sit here and say that everybody should want to help other people, and that's a losing battle to try and fight that battle. But the wonderful thing about it is that in the stillness of the mind, it can start to just happen quite naturally and organically, just this spontaneous unfolding of, or the arising of compassion and empathy and consideration for another. Once your cup is full, your cup maybe then starts to overflow. You have a lot to give. Sure. I find that I'm full. I'm more full than I've been. And in being as full as I am right now, I have so much more to give. I can't hold that all to myself. It's spilling out.
Now, what do you do when you see, people who are here for different reasons or in the wrong, and there's purely like a satisfaction of ego? Do you say, hey, I think this is wrong, or do you point it out, or do you just
absolutely not
let it be?
Yeah, let it be. The person who comes here with the wrong intentions,
exploitations, no?
Sorry,
exploitation. Isn't that kind of like
the wrong people? They generally see themselves out. Yeah, most people don't last here a very long time, and you won't last a long time here, especially if you're coming here with the wrong intentions. It's just there's a mismatch in the vibrational frequency, and we see it time and time again. The wrong people, they don't last. It's too difficult to last in a place like this for someone who's it's boring, it's uncomfortable in so many ways. It's extremely challenging. It's confronting. It's uncomfortable, fundamentally uncomfortable.
Some people who have never had, that validation and in their outside world, and to come here and to all of a sudden to be put a pedestal by putting on a robe, have never done the work, and even as a monk, still not do the work. Whether it be go to alms round, come to meditation, they just want to be a speaker, Q&A, or just talk about their experience and get the of the people. You just let them be. Don't say anything. Just let them be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to allow myself to get upset over things that are outside of my control. That's a losing battle. I cannot spend my life like that. I have in the past, self-righteousness. I am the first victim of my self-righteousness. I am the first victim of my anger. And what does it solve? What does it prove? Nothing. So I like to just let it play itself out. Like what Ram Dass says, it's all perfect. It's all perfect.
And we could cut this out, by the way, with this question I'm going to ask you, but I do want to ask you because, as a person who came here very invested, I planned to be here for a very long time, and I was kind of disheartened by the capitalistic system. And do you think that, because religion is, the doctrine is still, there is, every religion has hypocrisy in it, and it is still a capitalist system to make money. But then how do you as an intelligent person who could critically, think critically, separate that and to like actually, I don't want to even say ignore, but to separate that from the principles of like actually of this religion?
So yeah, with that in mind, I mean, my accountability is that I would love to go back to Australia in the future and do something like this place, and I would love to be able to do it for free. I don't want to be charging people money. I'm not saying that the way that Lumpia Mapong is wrong or anything like that at all. It takes a lot of money to build a place like this.
Of course,
and as a monk, there's no source of income. You rely heavily upon that for this place to maintain this, so it's necessary. But yeah, I would love to be able to go back to Australia one day and build a fully self-sustainable community where people can actually come and stay long term, and we take care of everything that we need from within the community. Like we're growing our own food, etc., etc., etc. So this obviously costs a lot of money, of course, and I'm not saying that it's going to be a definite possibility within this lifetime. It may not happen, but I think that that's a good goal to have, because sometimes money can certainly be a barrier to entry for people being able to come to a place like this to have the experience that they need. I would love to see people be able to come and stay long term and not ever have to worry about money. I think that would be a really good thing to have.
About money, and this place, it's very easy to practice non-attachment or meditation in a place like this where it's beautiful, where there is nothing to really have to take your attention towards. How would you tell the person who is going back into the real world to have that same sort of mentality to practice non-attachment?
Well, ask yourself, how happy does having the things that you have in your life actually make you? And be honest. Yeah, I think that the answer that we can all come to is not really very happy, because why do we keep seeking more? If we were happy with what it was that we had, then we wouldn't be after anything more. And it usually takes money to get the more that we're looking for that has never made us happy in the first place. So we have to ask ourselves, is the way that I'm approaching my lifestyle, my life at the moment, actually satisfactory, actually fulfilling? And a lot of us, we're running around in ignorance to the point that we don't actually recognize how, or we're not giving acknowledgement to just how unhappy we actually are, not looking for the root cause of our inherent unsatisfactoriness that we're trying to resolve with material possessions and material gain. So once you practice meditation and start having a look at the circumstances of your life a little bit more clearly, I think you can start to recognize that we don't need as much as we think that we do. I have less than I've ever had in my entire life, and I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life, and I think that says everything.
Is there anything, one thing? Nothing at all.
What do I have to give up to have those things? Freedom. Yeah, there's nothing that's worth more than this. If I say to myself, if that desire comes up, oh, I really miss this thing, I say, hey, hold on a second, is that true? Do I really miss that? No.
Hey.
I can get on my life without these things.
I want to tell the world, if you had 10 seconds to show, to make everyone in the world listen, what would it be?
Follow your own intuitive guidance. Listen to yourself. Cultivate a strong spiritual foundation for yourself.
If you had to guess, what do you think happens after we die? If you had to guess.
I can't really say with any degree of certainty. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really like to speak about things that I don't have direct experience with. So in Buddhism, we speak about reincarnation. For me, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't remember any of my previous lives, so I can't sit here and say after we die we get reincarnated, and that's what we speak about in Buddhism. So I'm not sure. I think it's going to be an interesting experience. I focus on doing the best that I possibly can within myself to be the change that I've been looking for. Rather than waiting for someone to come and save me or fix everything else, I do the best that I can. I position myself very well, which is being here as a monk, teaching meditation, sharing, for me personally, what I feel as though is the most valuable thing. Everything else is outside of my control. I'm not infinite. I can't do everything. What I'm doing right now is enough, and I can sleep very well at night with this knowledge.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. That's it. I can give you 15 minutes before 1.
Oh,
yeah, sadhu. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for that.
Oh, thank you for that.